So you want to know the top 7 reasons you should move to Seattle, Washington? Well, that is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. What's going on, everybody? It's Justin Gazba, and this is Living in Seattle, Washington. I'm a local real estate agent right here in the Seattle Metro, and if you want to know everything there is to know about living, eating, working, playing right here, eating and sleeping right here in Seattle, Washington, this is a channel for you. And start now, just hit that subscribe button, tap that little notification bell, and you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. So we have so many people reaching out to us who are relocating here or moving within the city, who have questions about, why should we move to Seattle? What's the story going on over there in upper left USA, and why should we consider moving? We are helping people make that move all the time, and so we thought we put together some videos for you so you could have the best knowledge, that know the ins and the outs, just like a real local. And we put that together for you here. So if you're considering making that move, reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text, send a pigeon carrier, smoke signals, whatever you got to do to get in contact with us, and let's connect and make that happen for you. So let's get into the video. This is the top 7 reasons that really make Seattle a standout city. I might talk about a few things that kind of work against it, but mostly we just want to tell you the top 7 reasons that this city really is what makes it great, what makes it unique and wonderful to be here. So let's start at the top. And so, if you come out here in August, you fall in love with the area. We've got these long summer, warm nights, not too hot. Certainly you can get those late nights, those rooftop decks, dinners, those nights out on the town. Yeah, all that. The long summers here are just amazing, and because of our geographical location, that makes it really, really easy, especially when you spring forward, right? You get all those nights, long nights to 10 o'clock at night. So if you're thinking about nightlife, if you're thinking about dinners on a rooftop deck, if you're planning on going out, really summer, that's what cues it off for so many people. They come visit somebody in August, in early September or late July, and they're like, oh my gosh, look at all these mountains, look at all these, all these lakes, and look at these long summer nights. So we're gonna come in right there. The other thing that makes this area so appealing, and it might be the top of the top, it might be the real pinnacle, it is for so many people that live here, are the access to mountains, the access to water, the sailing, the hiking, the climbing. You've got an hour and a half in any direction, and you can find yourself a trailhead, a mountain, someplace to go skiing or snowboarding, or just get out. We are right on the water. The Seattle metro area has lakes, it has the Puget Sound, right? So this is really kind of a paradise if you're into sailing or kiteboarding or anything like that. We've got a ton of access to great lakes and great parks. Shilshole Marina, Lake Union, Lake Washington, Lake Sammamish. Those are just the major attractions, right? That people are just drawn to when you come out here. I mean, it is easy if you join a boat club, or you are into sailing yourself, to get out to the San Juan Islands for a weekend. I mean, those two things, long nights and like, we stopped the video right there. That's it. That's all you need to know, right? Another thing for a lot of folks is the opportunity that's here. We have such a big tech scene. You don't have to be a developer to get in to some of these companies, right? You don't have to be a software developer. You can work your way in with the right network and that sort of stuff. But it's not just Microsoft anymore. It's not just Boeing anymore. It's not just Amazon anymore. It's Google, it's Tableau, it's Adobe, it's Disney, it's SpaceX. We have a ton. I mean, there's probably, you could probably Google a Wikipedia page with hundreds of tech firms that are in here, and they all want to be here because as soon as Microsoft came in and kind of wedged themselves in here, Amazon came over because they want to share that talent pool, right? So that makes it a big deal. And that opportunity trickles down because they need people who can speak tech, but also can speak to normal people. They need to have those people in the middle to make their programs work. And so there's a ton of opportunity in that regard. Now, obviously, everybody has their own story to tell and that sort of thing, and you can't just show up and expect to get a job, but there is quite a big network and that sort of stuff that makes that opportunity available to a lot of people here. So one of the other things about that opportunity, right? One of the reasons, Jeff Bezos came to the area is we're one of only a couple of states that has no income tax. So when you live here, you are not paying a state income tax, right? It's federal and that's it. So big opportunity there. Makes sense for a lot of high income earners to come this way, be a part of that because there is no state income tax. That means you get to keep more of your money too. Granted, there are some, there's some hit and miss drawbacks with that. We get all of our state funding out of property taxes and sales tax. And so that can be a con when you kind of think about the disparity between, like if you're making $40,000 a year, you're paying the same tax on that Snickers as somebody's making $200,000 a year, right? So that can be an issue for some people, but hey, no state income tax, so that's a huge benefit. So one of the other benefits that I think is truly makes Seattle stand out is that it's a little big city. It's an 18-hour city. It's not a 24-hour city. I think of that as has some positive to it. But if you're coming here expecting a New York or a Chicago or a Las Vegas, certainly not, right? The city is long and skinny. There's a great downtown. We have a few different, Pioneer Square, downtown, Belltown. That's kind of where you'll see all that steel and glass on our skyline. But then once you get away from that, it gets really suburban fairly quickly. Even some of the more popular neighborhoods, Queen Anne, Green Lake, Ballard, certainly the neighborhoods over on the east side, which is its whole other city, right? Bellevue is a completely other city. Redmond's a complete different city. But we all the Seattle metro, right? Definitely a ton of suburbs over there with a little bit of infill. So it's not too big. Seattle itself is fairly long and skinny. We've got all these lakes that kind of make if I was going to put a con in there, right? We got all these lakes in here that kind of make it hard to travel. Easy to get north to south. Transit gets you into downtown pretty easily. We got light rail that's coming through and making things a lot easier, but there are a lot of lakes and stuff that kind of get in the way of the east to west, and certainly the northwest to the southeast. If you're crisscrossing, it can be a little troublesome. Another thing that makes Seattle super great is its coffee, brewery, food, culture. For a smaller metropolitan city, there's definitely a lot of restaurants that have come up and made it into magazines, publications. There's some great steakhouses and seafood places, especially here. Seattle has that waterfront downtown tourist area, Pike Place Market. In that area, there's some really great restaurants in there. There's Walrus and the Carpenter is a renowned oyster shop that's in a kind of an industrial part of Ballard. There's some great. Canlis is all time, has one of the best views that you can see, obviously, from their location, looking out at, what do they look at Lake Union, back when we had the Sonics, right? The Met is a place that you would go out to dinner and you might come across, the team having dinner there and stuff. So really great restaurant. Breweries, obviously, the Ballard Brewery District has been written up a few times. A lot of independent small breweries there, a big collaborative and a neighborhood feel. So there's pretty much a brewery within any neighborhood that you're at. You can find walking distance over to a brewery. And even on the east side, Bellevue Brewing Company, there's a few on the Burt Gilman that you can get part of out in like Kenmore and stuff. So there's just tons and tons of, if that's your scene, there's a massive opportunity to come out and try new breweries all the time. We've got new stuff popping up, which is really, really great. The music and art scene, Seattle, obviously we're in, strange era where a lot of music clubs and stuff shut down, but there's a ton of independent music and clubs and that sort of thing. But also, if you think about those folks that are doing like the Seattle Symphony, the Pacific Northwest Ballet. We've got a ton of museums here. Mopop, the Mohai, the Wooden Boat Museum, the Nordic Heritage Museum in Ballard. Tons and tons of museums. So if you are the kind of person that maybe goes out once or twice a month and you want to make that part of your date night, there's even an opportunity to go do those things on the cheap, right? To have the free night that they do. I think it's like first Thursday or third Thursday, something like that. But if you're really into it, there's an opportunity to be a part of those things and be a part of the city in that regard, and the Seattle Art Museum, Sculpture Park, and partake in all that stuff on a regular basis as well. And there's enough out there that you seriously can't get. I don't think you can get tired of it. Even the Air and Space or the Flight Museum down by Boeing Field in South King County, fantastic. Like, it's such a cool museum, right? So super big opportunity to do that, to check out the museum scene and the music scene, whether you're into like indie music and rock and roll, or you're into the symphony. There's a ton of stuff. Benaroya Hall puts on amazing concerts and all kinds of stuff. And so realistically, let's see what we did. We talked about opportunity, we talked about the mountains, we talked about music, we talked about it being a relatively small city, which I'm going to put as a benefit. We talked about breweries, we talked about no state income tax, we talked about long summers, and the coffee culture along with the brewery culture. I mean, I think that's 7 right there. I mean, we could go on. It's super pet friendly city. There's a great food scene, right? There's a ton of stuff here. A couple of things that I'd throw at you. If that sounds like exactly what you're looking for, awesome. There's a couple of things to think about, right? Those long summer nights come with short winter days, right? It gets dark 3:30, 4 o'clock here in the winter, and the weather is a blessing and a curse, right? So you've got these beautiful long days that just feel amazing, but also it's the Pacific Northwest. It's flannel, it's overcast, it's drizzle. There's something to be considered there, right? So and the other thing we have no income tax. You get to keep more money in your pocket, but we do have a little bit higher property taxes, right? And so there's a higher cost of living than a lot of cities over here. Certainly more expensive than Portland, but there's more opportunity than Portland, right? You think about people in California, depending on where you're at, Seattle's a lot less expensive. New York, same story, right? So it really just depends on where you're coming from, what your plans are, what you're gonna do when you get here. August, I talked about having amazing summer nights, but one of the offsets to that is because of fires in British Columbia up in Canada, and fires east of the mountains here in Washington State, and fires down in Oregon, and wildfires down in California. August is our smoky season, right? So you might, even though we've got these long, beautiful nights, you might not want to go on a hike in that weather conditions, because it's like every hour outside is like smoking a pack of cigarettes. So there's some things to consider there. I know that for when we plan stuff, we kind of plan smaller trips and other things, weather dependent, around that smoky season. We just plan for it. So, public transportation is getting better, but it's not great, right? So there's some things to think about there. But if that didn't scare you off and you think that this is the right place for you, reach out to us. We're helping people move all the time, every day, within the city and from out of town coming in. We're so excited to help people. You can reach out to us, just shoot us a text, give us a call, whatever you got to do to reach us, and we're happy to put that together for you. So really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully you got a ton of value for this, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, talk to you.